This video is about the Anglo-Dutch Wars. The Anglo-Dutch Wars were four military conflicts in the 17th and 18th century. On one side we have England, and the last war then Great Britain. On the other side there are the United Netherlands. Firstly, a look at the situation before the First War. The United Netherlands gained their independence not too long ago from Spain. And Spain and Portugal, these two countries were the naval and commercial powers, but their might declined in the 16th and 17th century. England and the Netherlands filled these gaps and became the new naval powers. That especially accounts for the Netherlands. During the 17th century, they had their golden age with the dominant trading power of the world. And that becomes very clear if you look at the size of the commercial fleet. The Dutch fleet matched the size of all the other commercial fleets of the world. In England there was a civil war and the Commonwealth of England was established, meaning the monarchy was temporarily abolished. This weakened the English commercial fleet, but the navy was still strong. The Netherlands in this time gained influence on England's trade, especially with the North American colonies. So of course the English were not happy about this, and the Parliament passed the Navigation Act. In its core, meaning that goods transported to England have to be transported on English ships or on ships of the country of origin. Against this background, the Commonwealth seized more than 100 Dutch ships, especially to end the Dutch trade with the royalist colonies. Then there was the Battle of Goodwin Sands. The Dutch fleet did not dip their flags in salute, and then the English opened fire. The formal war started on the 10th of July 1652. The English Parliament declared war on the Netherlands. Firstly, the Netherlands could win a battle, and they also could win two battles in the Mediterranean, so it did not look good for the English, but they struck back, won a battle, then the Dutch again, so the war went forth and back. Then the English won two battles, and they started to blockade the Dutch coast. But the Dutch went out, the Battle of Scheveningen, both sides claimed victory, but it was in fact a strategic victory for the Dutch because the English had to retreat. There were too many damages and there were problems with supplies. Then there was the Treaty of Westminster. The Netherlands recognized the Commonwealth of England and the Navigation Act through this treaty. The Second Anglo-Dutch War. Charles II returned to England and the monarchy was restored. In England, from 1660 onwards, there was a motivation again to go to war. The English were hoping for spoils of war and extension of their trade. Furthermore, the French and the Netherlands had a defensive alliance with France. That's not good when dealing with England. And Charles II personally didn't like the Netherlands because the House of Orange, with what he had personal relations with, was pushed away from power in the Netherlands. So there were private campaigns from both sides against the colonies and against trade. And the English then forced the Dutch colony, New Amsterdam, to surrender, nowadays New York. The declaration of war happened on the 4th of March 1665. The English were very successful, won the first battle, but then the Great Plague massively weakened the country. So the Netherlands could go in the offensive. But the English won again, and it looked very, very promising. But a year earlier, the Great Plague, now the Great Fire, England was exhausted. So negotiations started at Breda, but the English delayed all stuff there. The Netherlands said, that is too long for us, mate, and they attacked and were successful, so then the English had to agree, and there was a Treaty of Breda. The Dutch merchants are now allowed to export goods from the Rhine to England. England recognized the Dutch sovereignty over Suriname and Indonesia, but England gained New York. The Third Anglo-Dutch War. To explain the war, you have to see that France became more and more powerful. But then there was a triple alliance. England, Sweden and the Netherlands forced France to stop a war with Spain. Louis XIV, the French king, was not very happy about this, and he now formed alliances against the Netherlands. One alliance was with England. So both countries declared war on the Netherlands. More important in this period is probably the Dutch War. The Netherlands were fighting for their survival. The naval war was relatively quickly done. The Dutch won a few battles, and then there was the Treaty of Westminster. Status quo ante bellum was restored. The Fourth Anglo-Dutch War. During the 18th century, the Dutch naval and trading power declined whilst the British power rose. It was a time of the American Revolution, and the Netherlands supported the rebellious colonies. The Royal Navy then blockaded the Dutch ports and captured most of the Dutch colonies. There was just one battle in this war. In total, you have to say, the Dutch Navy was no match for the Royal Navy anymore. So with the Treaty of Paris, the status quo ante bellum was restored. And this meant only one thing: Britannia rule the waves. That was the Anglo-Dutch Wars in 5.